Hello, and welcome to Wednesday Wisdoms. Today we're going to talk about the top 10 idiotic things that y'all are doing that is stopping you guys from getting date number 2. So these are the biggest mistakes people make on their first date. And you've all heard them, but you're still doing them. So let's just go through it and really identify with yourself. Like, why are you doing? Just know. So the first one is getting drunk. Your date does not want to be your Uber. Your date does not want to see you highly intoxicated. It's kind of like we all have had those nights, right? But you need to hide the crazy in the beginning. You don't get to lead with the crazy. You have to let them like you and invest in you, and then you can bring a little bit of it out. But seriously, don't get drunk. Just no, 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 no. So the second one is being a liar. Now, how many of you guys have used a picture on your profile that does not truly reflect who you are at present day? This is just not good. Don't lead with lying. It's such an easy thing for people to see too, as soon as they see you. I had a friend that went on a date a couple weeks ago, and he tries to be very nice, but he was looking at her and he said, "Excuse me, your eyes are not even the same color as your profile." And she admitted she had used her cousin's picture. So many shades of wrong with that. Um, it also doesn't really show confidence, does it? And I've never heard of this working. I've never heard of using someone else's picture or using one of yours that's from, circa 1999. I've never heard that really working out for you. So you're setting yourself up to fail. So don't be a liar, okay? The other one, big pet peeve. Mine, my own personal pet peeve, with anyone in general, is focusing on your phone. Like, disengage from the phone. It is not your pacifier. It is not your security blanket. Just be able to be away from your phone during the course of dinner. Okay. And for many of you, that's really difficult. And it's very off-putting, quite frankly. And let's see. Oh, yeah, oversharing. A lot of you treat first time dates like therapists, and no one likes this. They don't want to know about how you hate your father and your cousin was the shining star, and don't lay all that on them. It's a lot. It's heavy. It's heavy. I really believe first dates are meant to try to see if there's a connection and have fun and learn about the other person. So when you're oversharing all of these kind of therapy type things, it puts the person's guard up. And I actually had a friend, and she went out with a guy, and she said, "You don't need a date, you need a therapist." And it's sad if you need the help, get it, but not from your dates, okay? That's just not their role. Let's see. Oh yeah. Obviously I wrote some notes down. When you give boring a voice, it's called bragging. I made that up, or maybe I heard it somewhere, but it's so true. When you start bragging and bragging and bragging, it's just not fun for the listener. You're only pleasing yourself. You're not really pleasing them. And a lot of the things too is weird because people will brag about things like their car. If you go out with someone a little while, they'll see your car. They brag about their children. You've never gone on a date where people say their kid is not amazing. The most overused word is amazing. When people say, "Oh, this coffee that I get every single day. It's amazing. I mean, it might be, you might love it, but come on, save that for other things. So really try not to brag. Try to let them get to know you, because it comes across kind of as quite insecure. I do know that men lead with trying to impress you, and women lead with trying to attract you, and that's a normal thing. A lot of studies show that. So I understand it, but think about the way that you're doing that. This one we all know, we all do it. So being negative. I think it goes beyond treating a server bad. I think it goes beyond talking about a bad day that you had at work. Again, why are you pouring all this stuff on this person who has agreed to spend some of their unit of time with you? Appreciate the fact that they are there, as they should appreciate the fact that you're there, but don't treat them like they're your person to lay all your troubles on. And it happens all the time, and I think people just don't even realize it. Maybe this will help. So if you want to do well with the person you're, I would say opposite sex, but same sex, whatever you're attracted to, if you want to do well, you are much more likely to get a second date, to go further physically, all of those things, if you're getting that person to laugh versus getting them to listen to you complain. So think about that. Are you getting them to laugh, or are you just having them be a bucket for your trouble? So really try to think about that. Okay, the other one is having nothing to say. Like, your date is not there to entertain you. They are not there to wow you. It's not. They're not your dinner show. And some people, I understand, are pretty introverted. And so I always tell people, whether it's with a relative that you don't see very often, or with a dinner companion, or with a colleague or a date, always have something. I like to think of it this way: have 3 topics of conversation. Maybe something interesting that's happened to you lately, not going on and on in a bragging way, but just maybe something that's interesting and anecdotal. I don't think I said that right. I could spell it. But also something of current events that's interesting. And if you go on science websites, there's all kinds of things weekly that is new in the science community. There's this whole thing I wrote it down earlier because I was actually telling someone about it, but where did I take it to? About giant honeybees, and how they do this thing. It's called the shimmer, and how they move a certain way. And researchers they're learning why that happens. It's kind of interesting. Like, just anything in nature is fascinating. So yeah, if you don't want to talk about politics, totally get it. It's kind of boring. Like, everyone talks about politics. Everyone, it's like, okay, we get it. Regardless of the side someone might be on, have a current event in your arsenal. Have something that you just find funny. Have something from one of the best shows you watched lately. Go for that. So that's another suggestion I make. Number 3, talking too much. Now, I love this. I love research. So researchers did this study, and it was on people's first date. And what they found was the person that talks the most, like 95% of the time, has the best time. And so what happens is you've talked a lot on your date, and so you've enjoyed yourself a shit ton. You've really thought it's been amazing. I did that on purpose, but you thought it was just a home run and excellent date. They're bored. They're bored. And so people make that mistake. So if you find yourself thinking that there's this disconnect, you thought the date was fun and fireworks and all this stuff, and the other person didn't, you probably did not engage them enough. And that's common. So think about that. Number two. So talking specifically about your ex. People do this, and the person that's held hostage to your rape conversation, I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone, but that's what we call it sometimes. Like you're just stuck in this conversation, and you're not having any fun, and you can try so hard to change the conversation, and the person will not allow you to change it. That happens with the exes a lot. It makes you sound bitter. It makes you sound like you're not over it. And the reality is that person, your ex, did not kill you because you're still alive. So therefore you do not have the worst ex in the world. You think you do. Get it. Again, that kind of does go back to talk to your therapist, not your date. It's beyond to me when people go for a first date and they talk about their ex. Oh, do not do that. If they ask something, sure, or if it is positive, say, we co-parent and it's pretty good, or yeah, we're in a tough spot. If they ask, and and that's it. Leave it. So don't do that. Really, there's not. This is what I tell people. You should not know more about their ex or they should not know more about your ex than you found out about them. Does that make sense? And vice versa. You should not know more about their ex than they found out about you. And pretty much everyone will say that's a bad date for them, and the person doesn't understand it. They're like, it was a fabulous date. No, sir. No, ma'am. It wasn't. It sucked. So keep that in mind. And then number one thing, I'm trying to get you guys lucky here, so pay attention to this. Don't be one note. So basically what that means is they don't want to think that you only have you're a one trick pony, right? They don't want to think that you can only talk about one thing. Your cat, the hat that you make for your cat, your cat I'm trying to rhyme again, in a mat. That's kind of stupid, but anyway, or your kid, or your your work, or anything. Just spread it around a little bit, because they're not that invested in that thing because it's date one, as much as you are, and they shouldn't be. And two, it just makes you seem not very varied as a person, not very dynamic. And we kind of want to date someone a little more exciting and interesting and, with more depth than that. So people go to their comfort, though, and I understand that. And that's the thing. You do have depth. Of course you do. But you go back to your comfort. So really start thinking about what are a couple different topics and what can I learn about them. Everything you're telling about yourself, you should be asking them about them, right? Because they're fascinating and you want to know about them. And appreciate the fact that they took their time out of their life to go out with you, and as well as they should for you. So I think sometimes it's very easy for us to be kind of mean and kind of like, oh, that was a horrible date, or oh, this guy was this or she was this, and it's just not nice. Like, they took a part of their life to be with you, and so even if it's not a connection, that's fine. But just you can appreciate that part of it, right? So that's all I have for today. So go live your inspired life, and remember, feed yourself first. Thanks.